Welcome back to Outside Views, and today I have to talk about something that genuinely makes my blood run cold. It's about a political error so profound, so self-destructive, that seeing its next disastrous chapter unfold feels less like a surprise and more like watching a slow-motion train wreck finally hit the wall. I'm talking, of course, about the return of the Brexit nightmare. I know many of you thought or hoped or even just desperately wished that the chaos of the last few years was the worst of it. That once the dust settled, Britain would somehow find a way to make it work, to find its equilibrium. But what we are witnessing right now in the UK is the exact opposite. It is the toxic ideology of Brexit, not only refusing to die, but mutating into something far more dangerous to the country's soul. The recent headlines out of Britain are genuinely alarming. They don't just signal a political shift, they scream of a fundamental breakdown in the British political system. I'm looking at polls that suggest a historic, terrifying lurch to the political extreme. And this time, it's not just a loud fringe, it's rapidly becoming the mainstream. The sheer fact that 1 in 3 people reportedly wants Nigel Farage at the helm is a chilling indictment of the state of the nation. Think about that for a second. The architect, the relentless engine of the division, the man who promised a sunlit uplands that never materialized, is now riding a wave of populist fervor that threatens to consume the established political order. It's a truly extraordinary and deeply, really worrying turn of events. You see an environment where the political landscape has utterly fractured. The figures are scarcely believable. And we're talking about Farage's right populist party Reform UK reportedly leading in polls with around 30%. That is a massive, almost unthinkable figure for a party that was recently considered marginal. And look at the casualties of this political upheaval. The Labour Party, which was the clear victor in the general election just last year, back in July 2024, has supposedly tumbled to roughly about 20%. And this shows a level of public volatility and dissatisfaction that borders on existential crisis for the current government. But the most incredible, the most humiliating, and perhaps the most significant detail is the collapse of the Conservative Party we already talked about. The party that has been the backbone of British politics since the 19th century is reportedly languishing at a dismal 17%. 17%! That is a number that should send shivers down the spine of anyone who cares about a stable, democratic governance. It's a historic demotion, a consequence of years of infighting, mismanagement, and most critically, the original sin of pushing through Brexit in the first place. They lit the populist fuse, and now that explosion is destroying their own house. And this isn't just a regular swing of the political pendulum, it's a political earthquake. It's a tectonic shift that has moved the entire center of gravity in the United Kingdom dramatically towards the right. And this is what happens when you govern by chasing the ghost of a glorious past and the siren song of simple emotional slogans. It hollows out the political center, leaving a void that is inevitably filled by the most radical voices. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's recent rhetoric shows just how seriously the political establishment views this threat. His warning about the nation being at a crossroads isn't hyperbole, it's a desperate plea to an electorate that feels utterly disenfranchised. Starmer, speaking at the party conference in Liverpool at the end of September, drew a clear line in the sand, directly addressing Farage and the growing movement behind Reform UK. He said, and this is a profound statement, that the country could choose decency or division, renewal or decline. And that is a fight for the soul of the country, as he put it, and I agree entirely with that assessment, although I'm not agreeing with his policies and the path he generally is going now, also including Brexit. And this is no longer about policy debates over trade deals or fishing quotas. It's about the fundamental character of Britain. It's the democratic center versus a political abyss, a dramatic contrast line drawn by the Labour leader. The strengthening right-wing populism is what he correctly identifies as the descent toward that abyss there. And I believe that the core problem here is that Brexit failed to deliver on any of its grand promises. And the economic gains never arrived, the bureaucratic burden only shifted, and in many cases it increased. The promised control didn't translate into prosperity, but into stagnation and persistent political rancor. And when a massive, disruptive and life-changing political project fails to improve the lives of the people who voted for it, those people don't automatically blame the project itself. I can read it in the comments below my videos. Instead, they blame the people who are currently in charge of managing the failure. They blame the so-called establishment, and they become ripe for the next, even more radical promise. And Farage is masterfully capitalizing on this deep well of post-Brexit disillusionment. He's not presenting a radically new idea, he's offering a radically purer version of the original idea. He's saying in essence that the current problems are not because Brexit was a bad idea, but because it was poorly executed by a weak and compromising Conservative government. He's telling people that they need an even harder, more uncompromising approach, and astonishingly, the numbers suggest a significant portion of the public is listening. And once again, they are stupid in doing so. And the danger is obvious and immense. A Farage-led movement, or even a Farage-dominated opposition, is not just a threat to economic stability. It is a profound threat to social cohesion and democratic norms. And the kind of politics he practices thrives on division, on identifying an other to blame, and in constant confrontation. Well, they don't have the EU to blame anymore, so now they take the migrants. We saw the damage that kind of relentless divisiveness caused during the years leading up to the referendum and in the subsequent years of deadlock. Imagine that level of toxicity amplified and empowered by leading poll numbers. And this isn't just about Britain. The resurgence of this hard-right populism in a major European nation is a dark cloud over the entire continent. It emboldens similar movements everywhere, suggesting that the politics of resentment and nativism can win, even in the face of empirical evidence or failure. And for all those who generally care about a liberal, tolerant and forward-looking Europe, this development in the United Kingdom is a profound and unsettling tragedy. It feels like a terrible, drawn-out nightmare that the country cannot wake up from, a self-inflicted wound that just keeps festering. And now, with the old guard crumbling, the original injury is becoming an even more virulent systemic infection. Britain stands at a genuine precipice. Or is it precipice? It's precipice, isn't it? And the political choices being made right now are going to define the country for generations. The current course, steered by disillusionment and driven by a thirst for radical change, appears to be leading directly towards a deeper and more profound national decline. It's an incredible, almost unbelievable level of political self-harm to witness from the outside. And my personal view remains what it has always been. Brexit was a foundational mistake, and even getting a harder Brexit would be an even bigger mistake here. And everything we are seeing now, including this frightening rise of the political extremes, is a direct, predictable and heartbreaking consequence of that original catastrophic decision. And for all the whataboutists here that want to come up with, and what about Germany? First of all, this is my channel on the UK. About Germany, I talk about other channels enough. And if you want to come up with the AfD, there was another decisive moment in Germany that had nothing to do with Brexit that fueled those. But in Britain, which I'm looking at on this channel, the decisive moment was the Leave campaign in the referendum. And it seems the nightmare is far from over. It's only just beginning to bare its teeth again. So thank you for watching and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I know this is a contentious issue, but I feel strongly that it needs to be discussed honestly and without false objectivity. And I will talk to you all again next time, and if you want to see another video right now, The next one is right here in the end screen.